What's happening, guys? Welcome to the first episode of Chaps Chat. I'm sitting here with my best friend and co-founder, Mr. Oliver Kennedy. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good, mate. Not too bad. Excited to get the first episode going. You?
Mate, exciting times. Something new for me as well, mate. Like, sitting in a room on camera isn't something I've done a lot, so
Yeah.
going to take a bit of getting used to, but looking at it, we both look a bit spicy, so that'll be all right then anyway.
That's it.
So yeah, we're here finally, Chaps Chat, man. So
Yes.
I think just start off with a bit about what we're about, mate. So
Yeah, that's it, mate. So, obviously, as some of our followers know already, Chaps Chat is here for a public, open space to talk about men's mental health and just the stigma around it, to try and get people to open up a little bit more, to confide in us and let us know about their problems, whether they have mental health issues, but also to relate to ours as well. So just sharing our experiences, to give people that little bit more confidence to sort of open up and get involved with us a bit more.
yeah, no, definitely, mate. I think it's something that's definitely needed out there. I mean, like, I don't, even when thinking about resources and kind of where I can look to hear about other people's stories and stuff like that, I've never really seen anything like that or anything like this. So I feel like if we can put a positive message out there to people and kind of say, look, this is what we've experienced, which isn't easy for us, right? Like, it's not easy for us to go into this stuff, man, but I think it's going to have a good impact on people, and it's something that we're obviously really keen to do. So I think moving forward, hopefully if we can just let people know that there are other people feeling the same thing out there as well.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, mate, like, because for me, I felt kind of like, before you kind of come out and speak, you don't know really if anyone else is going through that if they haven't said it to you, right? So,
That's it, mate. And I think it's just a sense of fear, because you don't want to, look a little bit embarrassed or whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, mate, these things need to be spoken about.
Yeah.
And by doing that, whether it's confining in your friends or a professional or whatever you think's best, either way, it's the right way to do it.
Yeah,
and it's
definitely.
a massive help.
Definitely, mate. And just as you mentioned, that professional, like, just to put out there, like, a disclaimer, like, we are not mental health professionals. So we're just giving you exposure to some of our experiences of what have helped us. Like, we would always advise anyone to seek professional advice, obviously outside of watching this. Like, we're not qualified for that. So just to put that out there. But in the same way, like, I think our experiences can be really helpful for people, and maybe it just motivates more people to speak, man. I'm not too sure. Like, if one person sees it, it feels a bit more comfortable speaking about their experience, then it's good, because, as you mentioned, mate, like, the stigma around men's mental health is rubbish. Like, you know what I mean? And it's not on par for different, like, not necessarily just genders, but different communities and stuff like that. It's not on par. Obviously, you can look at the numbers and see that. So I think that hopefully doing this destroys a bit of the stigma, man. Do you know what I mean? Breaks that down a bit.
That's
you know
it. And the thing is that we're not reading from a textbook. This is just real life situations where people are going to be able to hopefully relate to us. We are just two chaps, mate, and we like a chat, and that's it.
We definitely ain't reading from a textbook, mate. I couldn't even do that when I was in fucking school, to be honest with you. Not that I wanted to anyway, but yeah, mate. Like, this is just off the cuff, like, so. Yeah, it's gonna be kind of raw. I can't even lie. Like, I'm just even thinking about some of the stuff now, and it's a bit mad, but it's a good thing at the same time, man. It's like, there's obviously so many different subjects as well that we can speak about in regards to mental health. So, like, some of the key ones, obviously, like depression, anxiety. You know, like, they're just obviously, like we mentioned, the stigma already. And also, like, what's out there to help people? Like, what are the mental health services? I know, like, it's not something that's advertised as well, right? So these are going to be some of the many things that we'll speak about over time. But yeah, in that same way, like, we're obviously more than happy to kind of speak about different things and kind of be suggested subjects as well. So yeah, I think outside of that, obviously we've introduced ourselves, but we can obviously introduce a bit about how me and you, this wonderful friendship that you're seeing in front of you has come about. Do you know what I mean? And it is a wonderful friendship, mate. So, yeah, I'll let you start off telling a love story about how we became best friends then.
Yeah, well, it's not so much a love story, mate. Me and Dom, what we now? 12 years maybe known each other. It must have been around 14, 15.
Before you was going to talk about age, I was going to say you're definitely older than me, mate. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't know by the tash, mate. But yeah, defo. Yeah, I'm 25. He's 26. If you want to know the numbers, yeah.
That's it. That's our actual age. But yeah, I think we was about 14 when we first met.
Yeah.
And just from being around going out in the same area, wasn't it?
Yeah, mate. I think like you know how there's always like there's obviously a big pack of people hanging about. I think using the other because you was obviously from a little bit further away than I was as well. Funny thing is neither of us have grown since then either. We're both the same height, so do you know what I mean? It's 5'9" to the end, eh? But
5'8", mate.
Yeah, I think we just clicked though, innit? Really, I think that obviously there were some mutual friends in the middle as well. But I just always remember you saying to me like whereabouts you was from, like because it was at that time like might have been half an hour away from each other, right? But you look at it like we haven't ventured out as many places then. So I was like, wow, like he's come all the way down here, like from there, like I wonder what it's like up there, sort of thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, mate. I think since then it's been mad. Like obviously it's a strong friendship as well, mate. Because I think like obviously number one we're sitting here, like do you know what I mean? And obviously like we've obviously spoke about things in this area of things for a little while, just off the back of our own experiences. But one thing I would say is that I feel like we've always had a real true friendship. Do you know what I mean? Obviously between us, like it's always been. Like, I remember like the Nando's thing that time where we went Nando's and that, and it was like you pay me a $5 each time sort of thing. Like that's the rules. That was when we was young as well,
that's
man.
It, man. Yeah.
And obviously like there's obviously whatever's happening in our lives, there's obviously been a lot of things that on each side have like been a little bit difficult and stuff like that.
I think even like from when we was young, the respect was always there anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Always.
It was a thing where it's just like whatever, because we had like sort of different paths back then. Yeah, like the groups that we was mixing, as you said, like I was with another group, you was with another group at that time.
Yeah,
but like it's sort of you introduced me to your group, vice versa, that sort of thing. So yeah, man, the friendship's been built from years ago, isn't it? And obviously, like as normal young adults and that, like we've had some good times and you know what I mean. Many good times, mate. You know what I mean? A lot of times. So I mean, I still remember that time when we was out in when we was in hideout in Croatia, man. You know what I mean? In what's that? What's the name of the club? The one with all the boards and stuff. You know which one I mean? Noah. Because it's all made out of wood. It's like Noah's Ark, mate. I'll tell you, if that's what was going on in Noah's Ark, mate, I don't think we'd all be here, to be honest with you. But yeah, definitely had some good times. And yeah, mate, I'm sure we've got many more to have in the future as well. 100%.
Definitely with this, man. It's like, I think, I was trying to think, it's like been like, 10 years is a long time, mate. Like, I think, like, especially like, to see each other's consistently as well. And like, mate, it's like, I remember when we used to speak on the phone every day when I was working in Tesco's all around there, and it's like I feel like as we got older in life, we've both kind of grown quite a lot as well, man. So 100%. I think it's always good to see from both sides as well. And
that's it. And do you know what? It's hard to sort of maintain a friendship that close anyway for those amount of years. You know what I mean? When you're younger, obviously, like you meet people, you know, you get along with them, like you stay close, but more time you just sort of drift off, innit? Yeah, everyone does their own thing, but obviously, like. Because we started Chaps Chat now as well, it just shows me we've always had sort of the same intentions to do something good, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah, man, it's a massive positive being able to do something like this, to do it with your best mate as well.
Like. I know, man, it's definitely enjoyable as well, and I think, like, just obviously, on the subject of that, it's like, probably we've been the people, like, friends-wise, with each other, where we've obviously been quite vocal about our mental health to each other as well, always, like, obviously it probably started with me, I think, initially, you know what I'm saying? But obviously it's like, just having I think the level of comfortability in the first place to go and speak to one of your mates about that is really important as well. Because I think that's obviously a part of the issue at the moment. Like, people aren't really speaking to their mates if they feel like that a lot of the time. Well, most people aren't because of the stigmas that we've mentioned around men's mental health. So hopefully seeing kind of two friends that have done that and have been doing that for a long time, obviously, like we said, will show other people and kind of make them feel a bit more comfortable to be able to do that as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just about starting that conversation, giving people the sort of platform where they can see, you know, two chaps like us doing it and feel that comfortability of being able to speak up to their friends or whoever it is, you know what I mean? As we said, professional or even if it's your family.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who it is, but it's important to get it out there.
Yeah, there's lots of it. And it's like just having that comfortability to speak, and you'll find like probably once you speak to one person, you're gonna feel much more comfortable doing it again, which is the main thing. Like we want this to become normality because it needs to be, and obviously it's a little bit different for like let's say with like obviously on the female side, I feel like they're maybe a little bit more comfortable maybe talking about that sort of thing. Obviously I don't know, I'm not a female, do you know what I mean? But I'm just guessing that from the side of what I've seen, because like I mean for me, I've like probably outside of my core friend group, like maybe a couple of people, there's probably not many of my overall friends, obviously we're best mates, that I've had that sort of conversation with. So
Same,
it's definitely a difficult one, mate. But Yeah, I think obviously some of the challenges that we faced, obviously they're different for both of us. They vary. I mean, just to start off with, for myself, probably name the most impactful one in my life was probably depression, mate. Like,
Yeah.
obviously it was over a period of time when I was a bit younger. Thinking about it, it's hard to put a number on the time, but maybe a good 3-4 years. That's a long time,
Yeah,
especially like it's a long time to kind of be feeling like that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Massively, especially like as being a young man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you
like
don't understand things.
You're meant to be having a laugh when
Yeah,
you're
mate,
fucking that age. Do you know what I mean? It's
Exactly,
like not thinking about that. Don't get me wrong. Like there were times I was having a laugh as well, like enjoying myself. I'm not saying I had some dead childhood or something. Do you know what I mean?
No.
But yeah, obviously that's always in the background, I think, and maybe there's certain things that you're doing to try and have a laugh off the back of maybe feeling like that as well, mate. So yeah, for me, and that was very hard to overcome.
Yeah.
Mad hard to overcome, mate. But outside of that was probably from like I said, I've maybe like 16, 17.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I wonder if that's probably not what many people 16, 17-year-olds years are. Or maybe it is, and that's the fucking problem. Do you know what I mean?
But it's about like at 16 or 17, are you even able to recognise what it is? Because it's such a new feeling and it's persistent, as you said, for a few years, it becomes like the norm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
feeling
man.
like that is the normal.
It's like when it got for me, like when it got deep, I was like, yeah, like I know this isn't like right, and it's like you can't. It's little things you start seeing about yourself, and you're like, well, then obviously how you're thinking as well in your mind, right? But there's little things like it could be like you don't want to get up out of bed in the morning, like stuff like that, and it's like originally you just think, oh, he's a teenager, you don't want to get up out of bed in the morning. Do you know what I mean? Little did they know, but yeah, man, like there's so many different symptoms of mental health as a whole that affect different people in different ways, man. It's like anxiety for me, because I know anxiety is something that I feel like you've dealt with a little bit as well, isn't it?
Yeah, massively, but still now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've had anxiety for years, and I don't know where that sort of stemmed from, but yeah, I get it all the time, mate. That's like a living daily battle.
Yeah, man.
And it comes in waves. Some days really bad, some days not so bad. But it's all about thought process. Do you know what I mean? And like knowing that you have it, waking up in the morning. If you've had anxiety before you've even gone to bed that night, it's already in your mind. So in that morning, you're already kickstarting that back off again. Do you know what I mean? You're not giving yourself a break. But yeah, it's another thing that needs to be talked about as well.
Definitely. And it's like, mate, with anxiety, I feel like that must be one of the most common ones in today's world. Some of it, I think, to be honest, I think people see a lot of things that maybe like are unrealistic in life, like on social media and stuff like that, and that makes people feel bad about themselves sometimes. And a lot of anxiety is worrying as well, man. It's like, you know, some people are just like worry more than others, but it's like if you're letting that, it's like if you're finishing work and you're just sitting there and it's like little things you don't even need to be worrying about. It's like things like worrying about going into work the next day, like for no reason, like. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially when I've been there for a while. Do you know what I mean? Like, why am I worried about going in? Like, that's just. And then once you start thinking like that, like it is about. I think you do have to kind of change some of your mindset in certain circumstances and kind of just take steps to how you're going to handle that. But it's like even like I feel like people on the train. I get the train to work in the morning. No one wants to look at each other. Like it's like people just looking like. Do you know what I mean? It's like people like don't like I don't know like panicking.
Glued to your phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or it's like, alright, cool. If you're reading a book or something on the train, fair enough. That is what it is.
I'll read books on the train, innit?
Yeah, you read books.
Obviously, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I'm more of a newspaper guy.
Oh, are you? You know what I mean? What happened today then?
Straight to the...
Anyway.
But I'm saying, like, everyone just glued to their phone. And as you said, like, people looking at all this social media and feeling bad about all these things and that. And there isn't enough positivity being spread on social media. And that all depends on what you're following, what you're sort of attracting. Do you know what I mean?
Trust.
Even your explore page will be full of nonsense if you're looking at nonsense.
Yeah.
That's it. You ain't going to get no good
Literally.
come out of that. So it's all about like that law of attraction, what you're looking at and what you're trying to get out of it.
Yeah,
like, you've got to use these things wisely. That's it. And I think that's why we sort of started up this. Going onto your feed on Instagram or YouTube, whatever it is, any social media platform, and seeing something where people are talking about real stuff, things that can actually help you and impact you in your life in a positive way. Like, that's massive.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Literally, and it's like we're doing this, and we want to kind of create a community with the people who are viewing this as well. And it's like there might be places where other people find other people who are looking at our platform, and then they have a friendship that's got that level of positivity to it. Because do you know what I mean? It's like people obviously we're best friends. We've been friends for a long time, but don't get it wrong. Like you can have there's some people I'm really good friends with that I've met in the last few years, and it's if you're finding people on the platform like that, they're in the same mindset as you, that's what you want to surround yourself with, man. Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's like obviously with Instagram, like there's or any social media, right? There's so much you can view that. Like, you do want to streamline it to things. Obviously, you want to look at people's photos, your friends' photos and stuff like that, right? But outside that, you want to streamline it to what you want to see in life. Do you know what I mean?
That's it. It's supposed to be tailor-made for you. Do you know what I mean? You create your own account. Yeah, cool. Like, everyone has to have a little nose at what everyone's up
you know what I'm saying?
Little
snoop, you know what I mean?
Yeah, snoop. But, yeah, as we say, like, just creating this platform and trying to open that conversation anyway. Just to people, it doesn't matter what age you are, yeah? Whether you're a young man and, you know, you're not really sure about whether that's a mental health issue yet because you don't know enough about it, or whether you're an older man and you've been confirmed that this is the issue, but you never even spoke about it. So like, just sort of giving that people that confidence to sort of open up.
And that's just made me think, son. I think that's crazy. Like, but obviously we're 25 and 26 respectively. Do you know what I mean? But there might be men out there like 50, 60, whatever, how many years old, and they might have dealt with stuff like this for their whole life, and they've never, because like, I feel like obviously like in general like men aren't really talkers, right? But I feel like the generations before us are definitely more like the strong and silent type. Do you know what I mean? If we think about like grand, do you know what I mean? Granddad stuff like that, like they're not traditionally talkers, or maybe there's a thing of like obviously it comes to like. Not that it's strength of mind, but obviously you've got to think like a lot of people at that age, they've been through a lot of adversity and the times in the world they live with. Do you know what I mean? So, but I definitely think that's a crazy thing that someone could have gone through that long having to deal with stuff and might have never spoken to someone about it. So, like you said, this is for all ages, man. You could be 100 years old and you could reach out to us. We still have a conversation with you. Do you know what I mean? Might be a bit slower, but do you know what I mean? That's about it, man. But it's better late than never, right? Do you know what I mean? But, okay, all right, and so. Speaking about the people that are viewing this, it's obviously we want to interact with you. Like we want you to interact with us. Like ask us questions. Like we're obviously more than happy to answer questions for people, do some Q&As and stuff down the line. But if you want to reach out, if you obviously look at this and you think, do you know what, he spoke about something, but maybe need a little bit more depth on it. Yeah. Like reach out to us, ask us the question. Like as I said previously, it's not easy for us, but like we're here to speak about these things, right? So as long as it's nothing outlandish, right? Do you know what I mean? I'll ask the question because we want to answer. And I think this is important, like, obviously we've spoken about other people's stories as well, right? So I know something you said to me was that obviously you're quite keen to kind of be a voice for other people as well. Like, what do you mean by that?
Basically, I think people who are sort of in denial stage of having that mental health issue or just not yet ready to speak about that, and want to message us and share their story with us, but don't feel comfortable being named, then that's something that can be kept anonymous as well. And that's what we're here for, to be that start of that conversation for you. Now, obviously, it is just our opinions on it, and we will try to relate to the story as much as we can. But yeah, whatever the issue is, we do want to hear from you, and we would like to have our opinion on it. So if you're not feeling comfortable enough to reach out and state your name and tell us, the ins and outs of things, then just send in a question which relates to their story, and we can sort of go from there and sort of even ease people into that, But as we say, it's not a rush. We are going to be speaking about our experiences, and if people can relate to that, cool. We are trying to be the voice for the people and surrounding men's mental health, so that's what we're here to do. So please don't hesitate sending us in messages, like whatever it is, just send it in. And we'll do our best to answer it.
Yeah, like, you know what, like, obviously just off the back of our experiences, we're pretty understanding people, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, even if it's not something like, that you don't want to ask us a question or something like that, and that you actually are just going through a tough time, and you need a chat with a chap, like, ask us, like, we're happy to do that, man. Like, for me, I've been out sometimes, and it's like, I'll meet people, and like, when you suffer for certain things, you can just see it in other people sometimes. Yeah. And I've had real conversations with people that I've met for the first time, so it's not nothing new from our side, do you know what I mean? But it's whether, if you don't feel comfortable going to friends and family at this point and saying this, and you want support up until you feel ready for that point, like, obviously, we're more than happy to have a chat with other people and kind of listen to that side of the story. So keep that in mind as well, I think, guys.
100%. Yeah.
Fantastic. So what I'd also like to hear as well is, like, we're doing this to try and help people, right? To try and have an impact on mental health and the stigma around it as a whole, and try like obviously we might be a small part chipping away at it, but just try and solve this problem over time, right? Because it's obviously something that needs to be solved. So if any of our videos have had a positive impact on you, and like you want to let us know that, or someone else you know has watched them and it's had a positive impact on them, please let us know, because it's like if there's one person this is helping, then we've done something that's right. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's been all worth it. And I think it's just, even for ourselves, just to be like, it's obviously quite empowering to have a platform where we can speak about this. You know what I mean? Obviously, like strength of mind to be able to put that out to people. So I definitely think that's something as well that obviously outside of helping other people will help us on our side too. But yeah, mate. Yeah.
Definitely, as you said, mate, it's not a numbers thing, whether it's one person or 100 people, it doesn't matter to us. You know, we're just here to try and bring that positivity to people's lives and just make them feel comfortable. And yeah, as we said before, just make sure you reach out with your questions and we'll get them answered.
Yeah, that's it, mate. So wanted to speak about the quote of the day that we're going to do today, and this is something that we're going to have reoccurring all throughout the time. Couldn't remember it all off the top of my head, so that is why I'm reading out from a pad. Memory ain't my strong point, but I'm going to read it to you now, and it's like, I want to speak a little bit about the message behind this, and maybe I think anyone watching should have a think about maybe what this means for them as well. So the quote of today is, instead of worrying about what you cannot control, shift your energy to what you can create. Now, let's dissect that a little bit, yeah? So let's look at the first word here. So instead of worrying, what if you had to link worrying to mental health, what would you link that to?
Anxiety.
Wow. Do you know what I mean?
Straight away.
That's one of the main things. It's like I mentioned, you're worrying about silly stuff, like some stuff that isn't really the biggest worry in your mind, or it shouldn't be. Like I said, I've worried about work. I don't know if you know something maybe outlandish that you've worried about, but for me, work was something that I worried about going in sometimes, and I don't know why. Like I like my job, I do pretty well. Like it's all right. So I don't know. So it's not like a realistic worry for me to have. Do you know what I mean? Which is, once you realise that, kind of that's I guess being at the start of changing, right? Do you know what I mean? But I don't know if you got something little that you've worried about, like.
To be fair, my worry used to be like when I was going out and I used to know that there would be new people there, yeah, because I couldn't always be myself. Do you know what I mean? I get quite a little bit guarded about that. But like as I've sort of got older, it's like, do you know what, mate? If you don't like me, you don't like me.
That's it, man. Like.
So like that again, it is like a silly worry. Do you know what I mean? Because like you shouldn't stop being the person that you are for someone else just for being in their presence. It is what it is.
100%, mate. And it's like, once I feel like it takes everyone a time to kind of discover who they are, right? Do you know what I mean? But it's like, once you have that, it's almost like it's refreshing, and you don't have to worry about what anyone else have. Obviously, like in terms of the people that I value in life, like I care about those perspectives. Obviously, 100%. Do you know what I mean? But you don't need to. If you're someone you never knew, you don't want to be worrying about meeting new people. Like, if anything, you want to have the positive mindset about meeting new people. I might meet. I'm not going to meet my next best friend, right? But I might have a good time with some like-minded people, man. That's what it is.
Exactly.
So the next word that I pick out in this. So let's just start the quote again. Instead of worrying about what you cannot control. Control is a thing that is positive. Obviously, can be negative in certain circumstances. But I think in this sense, having control of your mind is definitely a positive thing.
100%.
And that brings back into the sense of the worrying. When you're worrying, no one enjoys that, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to worry about anything, really. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I think worrying in itself is maybe not having control. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. Having control over your mind is a massive positivity, yeah? That is so key to be able to do that. But that takes years of learning it. Because your mind is wild, yeah? Like
wow! For real, bro.
It can slip off real quick onto something else. Have you ever been sitting there, you could be concentrating on something and a mad thought pops up?
I think mine's been slipping for years, mate, to be honest with you. Inch by inch, but
do you know what I mean? Like that's how it is. Like your mind works in a crazy way. But getting the control over that sense of worry about these things, you have to go through it like by stage and learn that control of it. Yeah? Like, first of all, taking that step in physical form of going into that worrying situation and then finding out, right, I didn't need to be worried about that. That's a big one, yeah?
Yeah, man.
By doing that, you create that sense of the feeling where, okay, that wasn't so bad after all, yeah? So you need to reciprocate that with your mind and let your mind know that the next time you have that worry, no, it was all right last time.
Yeah.
But that takes time to do that. You're just training your mind to sort of eradicate that sense of fear.
You have to condition your mind, mate. It's like positivity. Like, it's like, you got to think of this, yeah? Like, if you're thinking negative stuff, probably going to think about some more negative stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking positive stuff all the time, then positivity breeds positivity. So,
Yeah.
like, we feed ourselves, right? Like, I feed myself hella chicken all the time. Do you know what I mean? Day in, day out, because I love it. Do you know what I mean? I also love positive thoughts as well.
Chicken connoisseur.
I am, mate. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, mate, on the other side of that, you want to feed yourself positive thoughts.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The more you're feeding that, the more you're going to want to have thoughts, and your brain's going to give that to you, right? So that's definitely something that has massively helped me before.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The positive thoughts. And now I just, even with this, like, just I wake up this morning, I think, how great is the podcast going to be today?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, and I didn't go to think that. That just popped into my head.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean? Which is what you want. So I think control is a major thing, and I think probably when you gain control of your own mind, you probably can take steps a lot further in life. Like that's definitely the way it's been for me, mate. To be 100%. Honest with you. But yeah, so the next word I'm gonna pick out in this one, the final one, is create. So instead of worrying about what you cannot control, shift your energy to what you can create.
That's it.
So I think Chaps Chat is a good thing to link into that, mate.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? Because we were people previously that have been worrying. We're people previously that have lost control, but we've stopped worrying, we've gained control, and now we've created. Do you know what I mean? Because we're both the co-founders. This is the first one.
Yeah.
And so that's the positivity that's come off the back of those. Do you know what I mean? Being able to stop worrying. And it's like, you know what? It's like everyone has feelings, right? So sometimes you have to go through the adversity to gain the strength. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I think like creating this is definitely something that is like freeing for us. You know what I mean? Empowering. Definitely. And it's like, but I definitely think it's something that we've obviously been, we spoke about for a while, but definitely worked up over time to where me and you are both in the right mindset to do this, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what, if you got any points on that side for yourself about what you think about creating or even as a whole.
Yeah. No, just as you said, that off the back of that, it's just turning a negative situation into the positive situation. Being able to create something like this isn't really an overnight thing, because we had to go through all of these emotions and all of these bad times for us to be able to speak on them and reflect back on that. What was wrong about that situation? Why was I feeling like that? And how I feel about it now. Yeah. Do you get me? So it is a long process, but nothing happens overnight. Rome weren't built in a day. Yeah. But being able to create Chaps Chat and do this and put out this platform to try and give support to people is something that I feel empowered of. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
And I feel good about that. Like, so helping anyone is a good thing. Do you know what I mean? Just trying to be that better person all the time.
You get out what you put back, mate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's hard to be that better person all the time, or that good person, when you are going through some serious stuff and you're in a bad place. Do you get me? Because all you're seeing around you is darkness, mate. And you don't want to be that good person. Yeah. You don't even want to be a person.
Yeah.
Do you get me?
Yeah, man.
So, like, being able to, create this with you, like, is massive. So, like, just extremely excited to be able to do it as well.
Yeah, definitely, mate. And I think, like, it's just nuts. Like, creating something like this, I think also this will be, like, because I know for me, when I was deep in depression, like, it was like, you don't see the other side of that, right? You don't know the positivity that's on the other side. But if someone had come to me when I was 16 and told me, do you know what? You don't believe it now, but 9 years down the line, 10 years down the line, you're going to be doing some positive shit about this with your best mate off the back of this. So you're feeling, you're up against it now, mate. I get that. But there is going to be a positive thing down the side of this. And I think that's one of the most important messages of this. Like, obviously, you can still, like, people deal with stuff. We still deal with stuff, right? But as a whole, we're positive people. And I think, like, just being like that's what kind of will get you over the other side, and kind of knowing that there are things you can do to help yourself to obviously make things better, right? Because, like, for me, obviously, I haven't been depressed for not loads of time, but, like, maybe good, like, 4 years. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, when you're on the other side of that, it's like, how was I ever in that place? Like, and it's you kind of like, it's by no way means straightforward to come out of that, and I think it feels like it's different for everyone, but it's, you just got to have that in your mindset. Like, if someone hears this now who's in that and they feel like there is a positive thing on the other side of that, then I feel like then that's definitely a good. If I'd been thinking that at an earlier time, I think that would have helped me a lot. Definitely,
and it is like seeing that light at the end of the tunnel, but you've got to believe that. And as we were saying, like, it don't happen overnight. So like, staying up to date with us, like, hearing what we're going to be talking about and the situations we went through, how we dealt with all that, will sort of hopefully bring that sense of control into someone else's life.
Yeah, definitely, mate. And think we obviously just wanted to speak a little bit about the next episode just as we close this one up, and something that was quite shocking, but also a little bit worrying. As at this earlier point, a lot of these people are people that we know, right? So I think it was it 86?
Yeah,
86%.
86. Yeah.
Of our followers believe that they've had a mental health issue at some point but not been diagnosed, right?
Yeah.
And that's absolutely mad. So I mean, 86%. And it's like, I can tell you what, just from my experience, you wouldn't even think 10% of these people were going through anything just from being around them.
Exactly,
do you know what I mean? So it's definitely a mad thing. So Indirect's next episode, that's what we're going to be focusing around, because we obviously have experience in that area of obviously feeling and being diagnosed. So we're going to run through that, and I think it's going to be really interesting, and hopefully people get a little bit of an insight into what that situation looks like.
Yeah, definitely. And even maybe it's a process that they've been thinking about starting, about actually getting diagnosed.
Yeah.
And we are going to be discussing that, about how we went through it and who we contacted, and, you know, how long it took to get some information back or help. So, yeah, definitely stay tuned for this one, guys, because this is something that is very beneficial, provide you with information on where to take that next step, if you're ready for that next step. And if you're not right now, you might be in the future. So definitely take note of the next episode.
Fantastic. Well, you've listened to the first episode of Chaps Chat. Long may it continue, and we'll see you next week, guys.
Thanks for chatting, chaps.
Bow.